Hey everyone, I'm Tarun and today we are going to talk about input and output for arrays. So in the previous lecture we learned what arrays are. Now let us talk about how we can read the input for arrays from our user and how we can show an output for the array, how we can show all the values that are given to us in our array. So let's say that I have an array over here, int arr, and I will initialize it with the size 5. Now let's say that I'm looking to read 5 integer values from the user and I want to store them inside my arr variable. So for that, since we want to... Hey everyone, I'm Tarun and today we are going to be talking about the linear search problem. So the linear search problem says that we are given an array and a key value, and we are required to check whether this key value is present inside our array or not, and if it is present then we must return its index. If it is not present, we return -1. So let us try to understand this with the help of an example. So over here I'm given an array. I'm given the size of the array as 5, and then I'm given the array values. The array values are as follows: 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So if I try to put these values inside my array, let's just call it ARR. And if I try to do the indexing, I'll find that 10 comes at the 0th index, 20 comes at the first, 30 at the second, and so on. The last index is going to be 4, that is equal to n-1. After this, I am also given a key value as input. In this case, it is 40. So I'm required to check whether this value 40 is present inside my array or not. So if we look carefully, we can see that 40 is indeed present. So if we are able to find this value, we must return its index, in this case 3, as the output. Let's say if the key was given as, let's say 100, then in that case we would have returned the output as -1 because 100 is not present inside this array. So that's the problem. Now how can we solve this? So to solve this problem, let us start with the bare minimum code. Let us first try to read the input. So over here I have a bare minimum code inside which I'm just reading the input. First I read the input n. Then I declare an array called ARR with the size of n. So I declare an array something like this. So in this case, since our n is given as 5, so I have an array of size 5. After that, we read the input using the input loop. I iterate over each index from 0 up till 4, that is n-1, and I fill these values. So in this case, the values will be filled as such. At the 0th value, at the 0th index, we will get 10, then 20, 30, and so on. We just put in the values that are provided to us as the input over here. Then we read the key value. So in this case, key is nothing but 40. Now let's move forward. So now the next thing is, how exactly can we find the index of the key value? So the idea is very simple. We just go about iterating from the left to the right. So we move in this direction, and at each index we compare the value with the key. So at each point I will just say, check whether my array at the value at the ith index in my array is equal to the key value. If it is, that means I have found my answer. My answer must be the index of this item. So I'll just say answer is equal to I, since I is the variable that is storing my index. And at this point I can really simply stop iterating further. I can maybe even break out of the loop if needed. If not, I can continue moving further. So let us try to write this code write this in our code. So we can do something like this. What we can do over here is we can create a variable answer and we initialize it with a value of -1. We give it a value -1 initially. Because we know for a fact that our index will never be -1. So we always initialize our answer variable in such cases with an impossible value. In most cases, when we are dealing with indices, we will be going with -1. And also given the fact that we are required to return -1 in case the value is not present. So that adds to this fact. What we do is we iterate over this entire array and we will see exactly what to put in this body in just a few seconds. And after this iteration, we simply at the end print the value of our answer, whatever it comes out to be following the loop. So now let us write the loop body as well. So I can have something maybe like this over here. At each point, what we do is we just compare array of I with our key value. So in the first iteration, we will compare 10 with 40, which will return a false. So we will not break our loop. We will continue iterating. Then we come to index number 1, we compare 20 with 40. Again, it will return a false. We continue moving further. In the third iteration, we will compare 30 with 40. We will check whether 30 is equal to 40, which will again return a false. So we will continue moving further even. In the fourth iteration, when the value of our I is going to be 3, we will read the value 40. We'll check whether 40 is equal to 40, array of I is equal to key, and this time we will get a true. This is the first time that this if block will get executed. We will update our answer variable, which was initially -1. So answer was initially -1. It will get updated to the current value of I. So the current value of I is 3. So answer will be updated to 3. Following that, we simply break out of our loop. We terminate the loop. We do not execute our loop any further. We do not need to go any further. We have found the value. So this loop is broken. And at the end, we just print whatever value of answer we have got so far. So the value in this case was 3. So we print 3 as our final answer. Let us try to run this code in our IDE as well. So let me copy and paste this over here. This is the same code. Okay, I need to import scanner as well. So import java.util. Okay, and let us try to run this and paste this over here. This is the same code. Okay, I need to import in our IDE as well. So let me copy and paste this over here. This is the same code. Okay, I need to import scanner as well. So import java.util. Okay, and let us try to run this. So I'll give the size as 5. I'll give the values as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, the same input, and I will give the key as, let's say, 40 only. You can see that we get the output as 3. Now let us try something else. Let me execute this program once again, and let me try to give the input as 6, 1, and this time I'm going to give multiple values. I'm going to give duplicate values for 2. And I will give the key as 2 only, since I have provided its duplicate values. And now when I execute it, you can see that I get the answer as index equal to 1. So basically this array was formed as this 0th index, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when I searched for 2, it gave me the index of the first occurrence. All these were 2s. I simply got the index for the first occurrence. The reason for that is very, very simple, that we always iterate left to right. Our iteration is going left to right, which means that we will be returning the very first occurrence that we found. And as soon as we find an occurrence, we simply break out of the loop. So this break statement assures that we will only get the very first occurrence. However, in case you are interested in the last occurrence, then in that case, what you can do is you can run a reverse loop. You can run a loop moving right to left. So let us try that out as well. So I will comment out this code and I will write another loop over here, which iterates right to left and returns the last occurrence. So the loop will go as follows. I'll have for loop int I is equal to 0, or sorry, I is equal to n minus 1, and we will continue to go towards the left as long as the value of the index is greater than equal to 0, because that is the minimum possible index that we can have, 0. And the update is going to be I minus minus. And in each iteration, we will have the exact same logic. So let me copy these statements and I will uncomment it save it. Saving it auto formats the code, and now I'll execute it, and I will give it the same input. So 6 1 2 2 3 4. The key I'll provide again as 2 only, and this time you can see that I get the output as 3, which is basically nothing but the index of the last occurrence. So we have got the index of the last occurrence by iterating in right to left manner. So whichever you want is up to you. That will depend from problem to problem. So there's no rule as such. In most cases, we will be needing the first occurrence only. However, if the problem specifically says that find the last occurrence or something like that, then you can obviously modify your loop to adjust to it. So that's it for linear search. Hope you understood this. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Hey everyone, I'm Tarun, and today we are talking about the for each loop in Java. So the for